Hello, and welcome back to Nerd News. Today we have a new trailer for the Last of Us HBO show. This is a more in-depth trailer. It's almost 2 minutes. Looks really good. And we have a canceled Metroid game that was revealed from Did You Know Gaming in an interview with one of the creators of the canceled project. Let's get started. First up, we have the Metroid game that was uncovered by Did You Know Gaming in a video with Paul Tazor, who previously worked on the Metroid Prime series, once pitched a Metroid Tactics game for Wii internally at Retro Studios. The pitch came about in late 2007, not long after they finished working on Prime 3, and the story was set to be a prequel long before other games in the series. Towser describes the gameplay for Metroid Tactics as basically XCOM. Going into specifics, players would fight space pirates. They'd control Samus Aran, a squad of elite Galactic Federation troopers, and other bounty hunters, hiring new units. So basically, the Fire Emblem, but Metroid, I guess. That's what it sounds like. Samus would just be one of the many people on your team. I'm not going to go too into detail about the game specifically, just because if you want to know more about the game, watch the video from Did You Know Gaming. They obviously reported on this very well. Really interesting that we almost got a Metroid Tactics game. I kind of wish we had gotten it, but at the same time, after Metroid Prime 3, Retro went on to make Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is a fantastic game, and I don't think I would give that up for a Metroid game at all. But it's still really cool, and maybe they bring it back one day. We're in a bit of a Metroid renaissance right now with the 3DS game at the beginning of the Switch lifespan. Recently we got Metroid Dread, it was like last year, and we have Prime 4 still coming. Who knows, maybe we'll get a Metroid Tactics game next, and that'll be whatever this was described to be. It'd be really cool. I have doubts, but, you know, I always like seeing different takes on series when they're more known for one style, go into a whole different direction. Sometimes they work out pretty cool, and the image that they have for this does look pretty good. Next up, we have more controversy surrounding Pokemon, this time with the lack of voice acting, or more specifically, Game Freak's response to said lack of voice acting, except that Game Freak didn't respond to the lack of voice acting in Scarlet and Violet. The last time they spoke on this was back with Sword and Shield, which isn't that long ago, but still was not with Scarlet and Violet. And it's being falsely reported that they didn't do voice acting because they want you to imagine the characters' voices in the games, and Lutu over on Twitter pulled up the full interview here, and while that is technically the case, they did put that as the second reasoning behind why there isn't currently voice acting in the games, that they just want you to imagine what it sounds like, which is dumb. Like, that, I'm not going to defend that, it's stupid. But their main reasoning was it's an RPG with a lot of text dialogue, and to localize and release that in 9 different languages at the same time just isn't practical and would be a lot more difficult than I think people will realize, and that is true. 9 languages, making sure everything is correct and all of it is ready day and date is a lot. That is more difficult than people think it is, but at the same time, it's the Pokemon Company. You have essentially endless resources to develop these games. They can make this work. They could make this happen. Obviously, they just don't really want to because it's going to cost a lot of money to do that. I don't think Pokemon's lack of voice acting is really the worst thing in the world, but it is quite annoying, especially as we get better character models and just an overall more animated look to the games. Not having voices to go with the animation and the constant talking and the storytelling that's happening here is a little awkward and kind of annoying. So I hope they do add voice acting for Generation 10, but I've been saying that since Gen 8, and it just hasn't happened yet, so who really knows. Also, the animation, or the imagination portion of it is ridiculous. I'm not going to try to defend that. It's stupid. That is a dumb response. But also, if you want to make fun of their response, that's good, because their response is stupid. But also, include the full response. Don't pick half of it and pretend it's worse than it is. They dug their own grave with this response. It was a dumb response, so you don't really need to cherry pick that one quote out of it and pretend like that's the whole thing. Like, it just makes you look petty. the whole response is pure and available, and it's not a good response to begin with. So you don't really need to cherry pick that one part of the response. The whole thing's bad. So add voice acting, like just do it. And next up, we have a new trailer for the Last of Us HBO show, and this trailer looks fantastic. I am kind of curious how far they're planning on getting in this one season. Like, is this going to be like a one season show, or are they going to like just go over, like, how far are they going to go in this show? Based on this trailer, we can see at least up until winter, which is pretty late to like mid to late game for the first game. So I'm a little shocked that they're going to get that far in season 1. I don't know if this is meant to be like a one season and that's over type of show, or if the first game's going to get one season and the second game's going to get a second season and that's it. But it seems like they're getting pretty far in this one season. Like some of the promotional footage here is pretty late into the game, at the very least more than halfway, or roughly halfway, a little bit more. Maybe they plan on doing it like 2 seasons for this, just for the first game. But it's going pretty far into the game in this promotional images, or in the promotional trailer here, which is not concerning, but also a little concerning, because like if it's a really good show, I don't want it to end super quickly if they run out of material. And I also don't want them to stray too far from the games in adding extra stuff if like they get through the first game and then like have to start the second game, or if they get through the first 2 games and it's like the third game's not out yet. I don't want them to go too far away from the source material. I would, at least outside of the 2 games, like I would like to see just more in depth in each game being shown. And if they're going to get this far in one season, I feel like that's not necessarily going to happen, and I'm a little concerned for the pacing, I guess. But overall, the show looks really good. The clickers look good. I do like that some of the cast from the games are making it into the show in just more minor roles and just other ways. Ellie in the game is the mother to Ellie on the show, which I think is pretty neat. Tori Baker is in the trailer a little bit. I just think that kind of stuff's neat. Just, they're not going to be in the show as like the main cast, but they still make it into the show in some ways, and that's fun. Overall, really good trailer. I can't wait for this show. I don't think I'm going to be watching too many more trailers, even if they do put them out, because at this point I just want to watch the show. But we're only like 40-something days away. I think it's like 45 days away, so can't wait. January 15th. Show looks amazing, and I am super excited for this. And next up, we have a promotional poster for Blue Beetle. I don't really think this is news, to be honest, but I really like Blue Beetle as a character, and I'm really excited for this movie, so I'm going to take this chance to talk about Blue Beetle. The promotional image looks good, I guess. It says theaters only 2023, which is... I'm going to count this as good news. At least we're getting a promotional image for this movie. After they canceled Batgirl, I was like 90% sure this movie was going. This was going to go. There was no way they were going to put Blue Beetle out when they canceled Batgirl. Like unless you are into comics, who the hell knows who Blue Beetle is? So I had almost no faith that this would actually get put out. But I mean, they put a poster out, and James Gunn retweeted it or tweeted it or whatever. So like, that's confidence building, if nothing else. As someone who has almost no confidence in Warner Brothers right now, I shouldn't even say almost. I just have zero confidence in Warner Brothers right now. This image gives me like a 5% confidence level that they will actually put this movie out. And it's small, but as someone who's really excited for this movie, I'm hopeful that means we're actually going to get this, and that's really all I got. It's a small image, but I just really want to see Blue Beetle get a movie, because Blue Beetle's really cool, and his comics are really cool, and I want more people to see Blue Beetle. Hopefully this does come out, but it looks like it's going to. And next up, we have rumors coming from Marvel updates on Twitter that Elizabeth Olsen will return as Wanda Maximoff in Vision Quest on Disney+, and these are like, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but it's like pretty close to confirmed. This is a relatively trustworthy source, so it doesn't actually mean anything, but also I just really want to see Wanda return, so this is good news. I'll take this. I'm going to count this as good news and count this as it's going to happen, because honestly, I kind of just expected it to anyway. So this seems more like we all kind of expect it to happen, and they're saying it's going to happen, so it's probably going to happen. I can't imagine Scarlet Witch doesn't appear at all in a Vision movie or TV show. It would just be a little off. So, good news. Elizabeth Olsen will be back. I didn't think she would actually be dead completely after Doctor Strange, so it's good to see that they're at least planning to bring her back for the Vision Quest show. And next up, we have possible delays coming to the MCU's reported slate of movies for phases 5 and 6. This comes from Cosmic Circus, and it's also being reported by Deadline that Disney's restructuring is going to result in some changes or possible plan changes to the Marvel output, and that they internally are not happy with the quality of content coming out of Marvel over Phase 4. Phase 4 was only like 2 years long, or 2.5 years long, something like that, and they put out 19 projects. That's a lot of projects. That is almost as many as the MCU has put out in the first 3 phases. Granted, the first 3 phases was all movies, so 23 films is not the same thing as 19 projects. TV shows are different. The movies were still there, but the TV shows are obviously a new thing, and then there was a couple specials and stuff like that. And then you have to include like the Legends and I Am Groot shorts to hit that 19, which, let's be honest, those don't really count that much. But still, 19 projects is a lot, and even if you just count the movies and the shows and the special presentations, I guess, the Christmas special and Werewolf by Midnight definitely do count. So assuming you just count those and ignore Legends and Groot, you still have 17 projects, and that is a lot. 8 series and 7 movies and 2 specials is still a lot of material to put out over the course of a couple of years. The quality has shown that it's too much. I think it's too much on Kevin Feige, but I think it's just too much on Marvel in general. They can't keep up clearly with the production value side of things. Like, the CGI just does not look good in a lot of these shows, and even some of the movies it hasn't looked the best. And while there are some other constraints, like COVID having problems with filming, and just in general we have to keep pace with things, that's not great. You don't want these shows to become bad, or you don't want any of this stuff to be considered too far bad, because then you get people who miss out, and once you start missing things, a lot of times you just don't watch any of it going forward. Like, you miss 1 or 2 shows in a movie, and then suddenly you're like, you know what, I don't really care anymore, and I'm done. Apparently are going to be restructuring. The things in post-production aren't going to change. Those are already slated to come out. We kind of expect that. But things that are in the earlier phases of production may get delayed, may get format shifted, so TV shows might turn into some specials, or something along those lines. Apparently the Disney specials are getting a lot of good reviews, and people are excited for those more internally, so maybe some of these shows will get turned, and movies will get turned into specials instead. With all the trouble that like Blade is having, I could see that possibly becoming a special instead of a movie. Maybe the smaller runtime will make it a little bit easier for them to make the whole thing go. Again, that just due to the struggles that we've seen happen behind the scenes with that. Some of these shows really didn't need to be 9 hours long or whatever they are, 5.5 hours, something like that, depending on how long the show was. I don't really think that they all needed the episodic nature. Something like Hawkeye, even though I liked it, could have been just like an hour or hour and a half special, or I guess a movie, but it could have just been like a couple hours and been fine. Maybe like a 2-part special or something. I don't know. I could see them delaying a lot of stuff, or reshuffling and just outright canceling things. And they do mention here that while not likely, it is possible some things just get canceled. For the full article, you can go to Cosmic Circus's website, and it'll be linked below. But I can see the oversaturation. 19 projects over the course of 2 years is way too much stuff. And I did say that in my ranking video for the Marvel series, that initially I just wasn't watching some of it because it was too much coming out. And I do think a nice middle ground between wanting to do more and, you know, the balancing the movies and TV shows and specials is like one every other month or 6 things a year. With 3 movies, that still leaves you 3 open slots for 2 TV shows and a special or something along those lines. I think if you throw in an extra special here and there or something, that's fine. But I think once you get more than, you know, 1 or 2 things happening every couple of months, it becomes too much. Your 3 movies a year is fine in my opinion. 2 TV shows I think is enough. Maybe a third if it's a smaller show, but honestly, I think 2 TV shows and a special is more than enough Marvel content for the year. 6 things, I think that's fine. I don't think we need any more than that. I think adding more than that is just doing too much. That's just my opinion, though. Obviously, they're the one with the multi-billion-dollar company, so they're going to do whatever they want. But I think they're doing a little too much with 19 projects in a year or over 2 years, and I think 6 projects a year is a perfectly fine balance. And lastly for today, over the weekend we have the One Piece card game finally get its TCG release here in the States. And this happened December 2nd, so just a couple days ago. We got a launch lineup of 4 starter decks. We have the Straw Hat Crew, which is the red starter deck. We have Worst Generation, which is the green starter deck. The 7 Warlords of the Sea is the blue starter deck, and Animal Kingdom Pirates is the purple starter deck. Alongside that, we did get some things like sleeves and I believe a binder or something like that. But the only other actual card product we got is the first booster box, and that is Romance Dawn, which the initial set, I think it's like 8 volumes of One Piece is called Romance Dawn, so that's neat, I guess. Looks like a really fun game. There'll be a link in the description to a video from Bandai on how to play the game, but it looks like a lot of fun. Kind of reminds me of YGOrganization, but just some small changes, but looks very similar. But looks like a fun game, and I plan to be playing it at least a little bit, at least initially. I personally did purchase the starter decks and a box, but they did not come yet. I'm talking about this today because over the weekend there was supposed to be an opening for these 2 things, the starter decks and then another one for the booster box, but mine did not arrive in time. The booster box shipped, but the starter decks didn't ship yet, so that's gonna have to happen later. We'll see when we get it, and we'll post videos. They might end up getting doubled up on different days with nerd news just to get them out a little bit quicker. I don't really want to be posting the new game like 3 weeks after it launches, but it was intended to be over the weekend. But since we did not get it in time to do the proper opening for the weekend at launch, I figured I'd throw it here into nerd news where we can talk about it just a little bit. The game looks like a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to picking it up. But stay tuned, we'll have a box opening at the very least of these starter decks and a booster box coming soon. And if I do like the game, we'll do some more content on it. Kind of like we do Yu-Gi-Oh! It'll just get mixed in and we'll get random stuff throughout whenever stuff comes out. But looks like a lot of fun. Exciting. Pretty excited for this. And that's all the news for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of the new Last of Us trailer. Does it look good to you? I know game movies and TV shows usually aren't very good, but this one, in my opinion, looks like it's going to be fantastic. And with such heavy involvement from the creators and just how story-driven the game is to begin with, I feel like this will be really good. So let me know what you think down below, and let me know if you're going to play the One Piece game, because I want to play the One Piece game, and other people need to play it too, or else it's not going to do well, and then there'll be no reason to play it. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more nerd news tomorrow.